Hey, this is Keith from Save the Rust. So, spring's finally kind of here. The other day it was about 18 degrees. It was a beautiful day. And managed to get out, do some riding. Took the 74 shovel, which I serviced that day. And this one over here. So, was able to get some miles in. Tonight, it's like 4 degrees, 3 degrees. It's cold outside. We actually had snow this morning. Wasn't a good day. And gonna do some work on the 1942 Harley WLC. We're gonna do some servicing on it, clean it up a bit. I got a couple things I go over in the spring and grease it, check this, check that. Same old deal as we always do. Still got a lot to do, a lot of work to do on the pad head. And, everything needs attention because it's spring. A little bit of work here. This one I got to finish. This one I got to get running right. That one I got to play with the distributor. That one blew a head gasket. That one I got to pull the brake housing off it. That one I got to play with the carburetor. One-man show here. So it's a lot of work when you're work 40 hours a week, and then you got to get into the garage. And most days it's fun. I enjoy it. Some days it's another job, but wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, listen, you get to play with 80-year-old motorcycles, 85, almost 90-year-old right here, 1937 Harley flathead. Lucky guy, I know. So follow along. We're gonna just do a bit of maintenance. Nothing crazy on it. She's no show special. She been riding it for quite a few years, over almost 10 years now, and it is unbelievable bike. If you ever wanted to buy an old bike, buy a Harley 45. That is one of the best motors, best bikes you could ever buy. I stand behind that day in and day out. I've ridden this thing all over. It's at the point, this bike, that there's no more adjustment on two of the valves. Like, there is no more adjustment. You cannot adjust it more. I'm at the end of its life, of that top end. So, it's going to have to get rebuilt at one point, but I'm hoping that, we'll finish up another 45 and another different one and this one. And then I could keep that one kind of like in the background and ride it here and there. And, yeah. Any questions on a Harley 45, put them in the comments. I mean, I might have said this before. If not everyone has the money for like a 48 pan with a Springer or a knucklehead or a big inch flathead. But these 45s are still, affordable. And they'll give you the exact same ride again, minus the fourth gear, because it only has 3, and minus the cubic inches. But if you look at this bike, that front end is the exact front end that's on a knucklehead, other than the stem, which doesn't make any difference. But that's the same brake, that's the same fender, same headlight, same handlebars, same everything. That seat, same setup as a knucklehead. Back wheel. The brake is a little different, but that doesn't change the ride. The entire thing is the same as a knucklehead. You still got a tank shift, you still got a foot clutch, you still got the brakes. Everything's the same. It's a kickstart only. But it's for like a third of the price or a quarter of the price than a knucklehead. And the best part is when you put in like, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 on a knucklehead, are you going to ride it like you could on this? I've ridden this through mud, gravel roads, all over the place because I don't care. It doesn't hurt it. This thing was made for World War II. These are tough as nails bikes, and take them and enjoy them. wear them out. That's what I like to do. Wear out tires, wear out bearings, wear out motors. This motor's almost wore out, and I had a good hand in it. I put a lot of miles on this thing, and you can get them up to 65, 70 miles an hour and more. So follow along. I'll go through a little bit of what we do in the spring. It's nothing crazy. It's just, again, this is like a Briggs & Stratton motor of Harley. It's like a flathead, small displacement, small horsepower, small, like a low compression. It's just like a Briggs & Stratton. It's just made to go and go and go. So follow along. So I just finished checking the back tire. And we're about 25, 26 pounds. I'll run that. You can run softer tires. It's all the preference on your ride. I like a little bit tall, a little bit harder. So it's all good. That's what I ride at. So next thing is greasing. There's all kinds of points here. That's the beauty of these old bikes, is it's not sealed bearings. It's not you have the ability to grease all your friction points, and that's why these things last. That's there's no big secret. Put grease in it and it'll lubricate it and last longer. So we're gonna get to grease. There's all kinds of points here. So on your rockers, for your forks, on your brake anchor, on your brake anchor pivot pointer, so just in this spot, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 greasers. There's one up here. There's one on the hub, and the same on the other side. There's a bunch there. So you get the point. That's what we're going to do, is we're going to go and grease this entire thing, and we'll be right back. So all the greasing's done. If you don't know where the grease zerks are, there's on the manual. I'm sure it tells you, but look at your front end. Seat post has one. Your rear brake pivot. The crossover shaft has one, the brake pedal has one, and both hubs. When you're looking at the hubs, when you're greasing them, as you're pumping them up, watch where the oil, the grease comes out, and watch for water. Because a lot of times, especially nowadays, people, look at grease and it's like, oh, gotta get all that grease off. My bike needs to be super clean, blah, blah, blah. The reality is, when you're using a pressure washer on old bikes, be aware there isn't seals like today's seals where it might hold back water. The seals in the front hub are made of cork. It's not your rubber where it's flared, where if the water hit it, it won't go in. It's a cork seal. It's not a great seal. So if you're blasting around your hubs and stuff because you're trying to get all the grease off, you're going to end up putting water into the hubs. That's bad, because these hubs can last a long time, to the point where I have a lot of original hubs, 80, 85 years old, that are still usable and good shape. I've also seen some that are completely trashed because moisture, water got in them, and they were left to basically corrode. And it's sad to see that, because it doesn't have to be. So again, if you're gonna run an old bike and you're gonna wash it, just be aware of not to try and get all the grease off around your different points, wipe it first, or just be a little bit more gentle, because you could be doing more damage than good, So anyway, get back to that. Next on the list, check the primary chain. So the primary chain, you just want a little bit of play in it. So, okay, it's good. Hold on. Go to the other side. Kick the bike over. Or, I'll put it in gear. I've got the bike on a lift, so I can try to spin it. So you want to spin it just a little bit every now and then, like a little bit at a time. Check your chain tension. And what I can feel is there are points where the chain doesn't have as much travel, and there are times where it has a little bit more travel. What you want to do is kind of get it to the point where you got somewhere around 3/8 of an inch. It's in the manual. I just kind of do it by feel. You just want to make sure it's not tight in any part of it, because then you're going to put tension on your sprocket, main shaft, and your transmission sprocket, and that's not good. You can wear out your motor, wear out your transmission prematurely. So, pretty sure I've gone all the way around. It's good. What I'll do is I got some vintage Golden Spectra oil from like 1970, synthetic chain lubricant. I got a little stash of this, so I'm using it on this kind of stuff. There is so how it oils is there's like almost like a blow by on the bottom end, and like it kind of comes out this little spigot and drops on the chain. I've never found it to be enough, personally. So what I'll do is, squirt a little bit of this in there. I rarely have a cover on here. For one, because they always fall off, or these holes strip because they're, these covers are either aftermarket or they're like 80 years old. So that's just me. So what I do is, before I go for a ride, when the bike's warming up, I'll just give it a shot onto the chain and just let it go around. And then if I'm on a serious ride where, I'm putting on 3, 5, 7, 800 kilometers, or, 200, 3, 4, 500 miles in a day, every time I stop for fuel, I'll give it a little bit of shot of more oil, because I think you're supposed to, tighten up the chain every 5 to 1,000 miles. So in order to kind of lengthen that a little bit, I add more oil. But you'll see that it has to be adjusted quite frequently with these old bikes, especially if you run them. So primary is good. We'll check the secondary chain, same thing. Just rotate it, checking all the way if it's tight. So I'm going to rotate it all and I'll check it. But got the battery on. Here's another thing I'll be doing. Got the battery on the charger. So check the lights, headlight, high beam, low beam. Still running a 6-volt system in this, Horn still works. I've already checked the tail light and brake light. Make sure that that's all working. And then, we'll go and we'll change the oil. and we have to try and change the transmission. Now, this is probably the one fault of Harley is they didn't really have a drain on the 3-speed 45 cubic inch transmissions. So you gotta have to suction it out or let it leak out and add more. I like that plan sometimes. So yeah, I have to look at my records and see when I last changed it, because I have a few bikes. I don't change the oil every year. It all depends on how many miles I put on which bike. You know, I'm not going to change the oil if I only put 300 or 500 miles on it. You know, it depends if it's a new build or something. But, you know, I might let it go for 2 seasons because, you know, it costs a lot of money for oil, and it's almost unnecessary. The oil's super clean, barely got any miles on it. Depends on the bikes, right? You know, again, like I go from this bike to my shovel head to the pan head, you know, and so I'm kind of putting my yearly mileage on 3, sometimes 4 different bikes. So that's how that goes. What else is there to do on this? You know, what I'll do is I'll actually wipe it down. It's pretty dirty right now. And one of the things I'll do is as I'm wiping it, physically feel for loose stuff. You know, that's how I found a lot of loose bolts. Doesn't happen too often anymore. You kind of realize where the loose bolts become loose, and then you deal with it. You either lock washer or you put some Loctite. I don't really use Loctite myself. It's just I never got into the habit of it. I'd rather put a lock washer than Loctite. One of the things I also, you know, so this kicker on this one, if you've seen any of my other videos, you've seen how these springs on these 45s aren't the best. That's another little fault. So what I do is, if you look closely here, right on the bottom, I got 2 zip ties. And what I'll do is I'll just loop it. Now it's impossible for it to come loose, because I've had this bike. On this bike, I've gone down the highway, and probably happened to me close to half dozen times when I first got the bike, where I'm going down the highway and the kickstand's right sideways, and that is a scary situation to be in. So I did this, you know, hokey little couple zip ties together, and never once has that failed me. And then the problem is too, is once it happens to you, it's in your mind, you know, because you don't want it to make you have an accident. So I'll be going down the road, and I'll be always looking for that kickstand and make sure it is, you know. So that's just my little trick thing I've always done. I've never had it come off, and I put a lot of miles on this bike. So that's some of the stuff we usually do in spring on these Harley 45s. Again, we'll go over it with, you know, wipe it down and everything. I won't bore you with that. This year, I think I'm going to change this fuel line, just because, again, if you notice, I got some vice grips on it. This one, the tank is it's bent, and where the fuel rod goes in. So in order for me to fix it, I might end up cracking a bunch of the paint trying to align it better. So I just leave it right now. I don't run a steel line. I run a flexible rubber line, and I just pinch it. So it just doesn't seal it well, and that's what I do. You know, a little hokey, I get it. What else we're gonna talk about? I'll check the air filter in it. Nothing crazy. Should be one in there. Wouldn't be the first time I ran one without. Okay, so what we got is the original style mesh, copper mesh oil filter. You can see how it's dirty. So we'll take some brake clean, clean that up, clean the inside of this up, and then reinstall it. Another thing too is we'll actually check the brake hub nuts that go to the brake drum. I've had them come loose. You know, it's pretty rare, but it can happen. And then check the brakes. You know, make sure you got, you know, this one probably can be adjusted a bit. You don't want it to hit the bar. You want it to, you know, have something when you grab it. Same with the back. So again, we got a bit of play there. So we'll just crank this out. Just get it so that when you're pulling on the cable on the brake lever, you got lots. You don't want it to hit the bar. You want it to kind of see how it stops there, nice. So that's what you want. But make sure you're not dragging. So don't get too over ambitious there and make it so your front brake starts dragging. So rear brake's good. There's a lot of, it's not even close to hitting the floorboard. So tons of brake there. So one of the things, again, look over everything. I got a bolt missing on the front relay. So we'll have to fix that. So, you know, you don't want it to come loose and actually arc out or ground out or have any issues. I forgot one more grease zerk. So you got to take your seat off. On this, I didn't understand why Harley did this. There's a grease zerk underneath here. So you got to lift the seat all the way up to be able to grease this point, the pivot point. But you got to do that too. You know, obviously check your oils, you know, change your oils, and you know, check your points, make sure there's, you know, no oil, nice and clean, you know, make sure you got good spark. Other than that, you know what? This one is about as reliable a bike as you could ever get. And it's not the prettiest, that's for sure. It's not the cleanest, that's for sure. But it's a trip, man. It's a good time. Riding this bike, it's been 10 years. I have not gotten even close to being tired of it, sick of it, anything. I mean, I love this old bike. It's great. So if you ever get a chance, try one, and then you're going to want to buy one. So just going to conclude that short video tonight, just showing you what I'm up to, or you know, some of our process in the spring. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for following. Thanks for subscribing. If you are interested in any of these bikes, there are videos on all of them, on how we built them here, how we might have gotten them, what's the story behind them. That's the whole key to these bikes. There's a story behind them all. So, hey, this is Keith from Say to Us. This is who we are. This is what we do. Have a great day.